Hello New Zealand, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks very much for joining us. We've got quite a lot to talk about this week, a lot to unpack from the tropics mostly, with a number of big lows up there which are all about to merge into one super low, which sounds very dramatic, and it kind of is on the weather maps, but does not pose serious threats to New Zealand, but it might really start to influence our weather. So let's try and explain it all without being too dramatic. Here is all this area of low pressure. You've got 2 storms up here, both of which have tropical cyclone potential. Further down, you've got the leftovers of what was Cyclone Neil over the weekend, and the low that was out near Gisborne, which is now falling apart. And then you've got other low pressure. Everything you see in that purple colour is low pressure, which is a lot. Sometimes, we usually get a bit around New Zealand or one big low, but this is the whole area around New Zealand. The nearest high out to the east, only the Chatham Islands has got high pressure at the moment. So this is how it looks on just the air pressure map. So that's a low that could turn into a cyclone. So is that one. That is what was Cyclone Neil, and this is the low that's been off the east coast of the North Island and is already falling apart as these merge up. So these two are left behind. So what's going to happen? Well, we think they're going to dance around each other and then eventually merge. So this is how it looks by the time we get to lunchtime Tuesday. We've got 3 areas of low pressure to the north, all of which have got the potential to grow into a storm, except they're basically pulling energy away from each other, being so close. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Meanwhile, further south, high pressure does return. So you saw that map with the low pressure. We do get some high pressure coming back, and that's going to make for slightly more settled conditions, but it's not a very big high. 10, 12. That's only slightly over average air pressure. So this is still not a major high pressure system, and you've got a bit of a nor'wester behind it. That'll push temperatures up for some places, a wee nor'wester in there and some showers over on the west coast. A couple of showers might make it to Nelson as well overnight tonight and early Tuesday, but it's not going to be much. By Wednesday, we've still got high pressure around New Zealand, but it's not very big, it's not very strong. It's enough to keep the weather settled, and just north of us, you can see these 2 lows are still stuck up there, still deepening, might become a tropical cyclone, but as I just said before, they're kind of taking energy away from each other. So that basically lessens the chances of them becoming major storms, but it does mean that they're likely to merge. And that starts to happen on Wednesday as this one gets pulled back closer towards that other one. So pretty settled around New Zealand with just a bit of a nor'wester down around Southland. Then on Thursday, a bit of rain comes into New Zealand around the west coast, some spill over into Southland and Otago. Won't be a huge amount for you. Dry everywhere else, and that low is just offshore. So by Friday, these 2 lows now look like they are starting to merge. Now that doesn't mean it becomes bigger and stormier, it just means it becomes bigger. And so we've got a really big area of low pressure which might send some rain down over northern New Zealand, but right on the borderline there, absolutely bang on the 50-50 line, because it is dry everywhere else. But this rain does start to come down perhaps on Friday, and then by Saturday the 2 lows are merging completely. This low now, by Saturday, is about the same size as Australia. This is a huge area of low pressure, but we've got a big high coming in behind it, another big high out to the east. So it all depends on high pressure in the New Zealand area as to how far this will drop south, but I think this Sunday, this Monday coming up, we're likely to get this big low coming down and influencing us. The only thing that will stop it will be that high, getting bigger. So there is a lot going on. No immediate storm threat to New Zealand, but certainly very stormy to our north and our northeast. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. For those in Northland, Auckland, Waikato and Coromandel, you're probably liking the look of some of that rain, but you may not be liking the look of the strong winds, which may intensify as it pushes down to high pressure. So still a lot to go, but that's the latest at this stage on all that low pressure north of New Zealand. Enjoy the mostly dry week we've got coming up in many parts of the country. It'll still be a warm, summer-like week here in New Zealand. We'll catch you again on Tuesday.